Amazon Shills have done everything they can to defend the Rings of Power series, even though real Tolkien fans are furious over them throwing out the source material and creating new storylines and characters. The trailers have gotten ratioed, the first photos have gotten laughed at, and no one seems to be too impressed. But of course, the Amazon Shills have done their very best to protect their modern retelling of Tolkien's stories, and the largest Tolkien fan site, theonering.net, decided to use the show's images to virtue signal and used a terribly photoshopped picture while in the process. I have quite a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or supporting the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So it all started with this one simple tweet. On February 28th, they decided to put this out, and while at first it seems like a very normal statement coming from the OneRing.net, it really isn't once you see the images. So they decided to tweet out, "Thankful for the incredibly talented actors who are bringing Middle-earth's Second Age to life. Like all of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit actors before, they are the next big stars who first bring their best to Tolkien's legendarium. Happy that these are the first looks that have came during Black History Month." Now, you would think with this statement, happy that these first looks came during Black History Month, that these would be all official images, and two of them are, but one of them is not an official image. One is a very poorly done Photoshop. So the first one is, of course, one of the brand new Amazon written characters, our first look at a black elf. The second image is the dwarven princess Disa that we've seen quite a bit around the internet, primarily because she doesn't look like a dwarven princess at all. She's very clean, she's very feminine, she's got no facial hair, she doesn't look like a dwarven princess. And then the next image is supposed to be of Lenny Henry's Harfoot, and we do not know really anything about this character and how he is going to play this character, because again, it's a newly written character, but this is a photoshopped image, and I'm sure looking at it at first, you all can probably tell that it's a Photoshop, and it's a very poorly done Photoshop. I mean, if you look at the outline around the face, they didn't even take the time to properly edit that. The shading is completely off. They didn't try to make anything match here. But this is a photo of Lenny Henry's face. I don't know exactly what image this is from. I do not know if it's from other PR. I don't know if it's just an image of him on the internet. But it is photoshopped over Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins in The Hobbit, which is so hilarious and so pathetic in so many different ways. Like this post says, happy that these first looks came during Black History Month. So they, first of all, decided to not even use all official images. They tried to trick people into believing that this is an official image, and they decided to Photoshop a black man's face over a white man's face. Now, imagine if this was reversed. Imagine if this was a black actor and someone decided to Photoshop a white man's face over it. There would be so much backlash on social media. Those people would be canceled. They'd be kicked off of the internet, basically. There would be so many people out there who would be absolutely furious with them. But it's okay when the OneRing.net does it, because it's for the greater good. Oh, they're doing it to celebrate Black History Month. And of course, they're doing it because they're trying to praise this new take on Tolkien's work. And hilariously enough, and I personally think that they deserved it, they are getting roasted on this post. There are people saying things like, I'm assuming there's no official look at Lenny Henry yet, given that the photo used seems to have his head photoshopped onto a studio shot of Martin Freeman. This is so hilarious. It's like they either thought that people wouldn't catch it and people wouldn't notice it, or they just figured it doesn't matter if people catch it and people notice it because we're going to do what we want. This group, the OneRing.net, for years now has put out very controversial takes. A lot of the people behind the OneRing.net have a lot of controversial takes, and they're allowed to have their own opinions, but they post them openly on this Twitter account that's got 141,000 followers. They are seen as the largest group of Tolkien fans on the internet. And they post things like this all of the time, and Amazon is backing them. Basically, they are representing the Amazon show because when the official teaser trailer released a couple weeks back, they were on the official Amazon account, I believe it was, doing a watch party for this new trailer. A bunch of people from the OneRing.net. So they do represent this show. So when they do things like this, when they take poorly photoshopped images and post them next to official images and basically try to pass it off as an official image, yeah, in my opinion, it really doesn't look good for them. We knew with this show that they were more focused on identity politics instead of creating a good, accurate to source material show, so it's no surprise that the people shilling this show are the same exact way. These people don't care about them throwing out things that Tolkien wrote, they only care about a show being created that represents what they want in entertainment. I'm fine with diversity and inclusivity, but to write new characters and stories doesn't make sense, and a lot of people agree with me. Scrolling back down, people are saying things like they are not bringing anything to Tolkien's Legendarium because the Amazon series is not canon, just really expensive fan fiction, and that's what I feel at this point. Like, it is just this giant fan fiction that they took the ideas that Tolkien wrote about and they're just kind of creating their own story, they're doing their own thing, going in their own direction. And it's like, in my opinion, that they're doing the least amount of work, yet they have the most amount of money at their disposal. We know that they are spending over $1 billion on multiple seasons for this series. This could have been very good, but there's not a lot of well-known actors, there's not a lot of well-known executive producers or writers. We know that a lot of the people behind this project don't even really care about creating something that's source material accurate. They really only care about making something that they think will appeal to modern audiences, even though the idea of modern audiences is absurd because the audiences now want the same content that they did 20 years ago. It says, how bad is that Photoshop of Lenny Henry? It's true. It's like they didn't even try, I'm going to be honest. This is a very poor Photoshop. I guess it technically could be worse. Everything can be worse. But it's just like they didn't even try to make this look really high quality or really good. It's no surprise that people notice that this isn't actually an officially published image, primarily just because of how poor of a job they did. I feel like if they did a little bit of a better job, maybe people wouldn't have even noticed. Someone said, why is that photo montage of Lenny Henry's face over a promo pic of Bilbo being used alongside official posters? It's highly misleading, and I agree. At the bottom right of the other images, it says First Look Vanity Fair, so one could assume that this is an official image as well, and it just doesn't have the stamp. But they should have put at the bottom left, the bottom right, somewhere in this image, not an official photo. It's not actually marketing material. It's just a fan fiction image, basically, of what he could look like as his character. I personally am not very surprised by the situation, and honestly, I'm not even that disappointed. I do not care about the OneRing.net at this point. They go on social media, they attack people with opinions that are different than theirs. They basically say you're an istanophobe. If you don't like what Amazon's doing with Lord of the Rings, you've got to suck it up and deal with it. Just shut up and consume product. And of course, hilariously enough, all of the trailers have gotten ratioed, and right now the main Rings of Power teaser trailer, which has over 28 million views. It's sitting at 104,000 likes to 150,000 dislikes. People are not very impressed with this. People are not very happy with this, and I agree. I am a lover of Tolkien's work. I absolutely adore The Lord of the Rings, and I would love to have a Lord of the Rings TV show, but this just looks like Game of Thrones light, and I'm not impressed at all. This is what they do. They go on social media, they try to virtue signal, and they post things like this saying, it's Black History Month, glad we got these first looks. Look at how inclusive we are, is what they're screaming to the world, yet they're using not even officially published photos. But guys, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.